Our state is absolutely booming, and if you are from Delaware, it's hard to not take notice that Delaware's secret is probably officially out. Between great paying jobs, very favorable taxes, and affordable housing, people have found out about the secret that is Delaware. And over the last year, that has meant an increase in property value for homeowners all throughout the state. See, it's a tale of two sides of this state. There's the homeowner, the person who's had their property for more than 3, 5, 7, 10 years, that has seen the increase in equity that's happened with the increased demand that has come to our state. And due to the high migration of military, medical, and others seeking high-paying jobs and affordable housing, it has increased their net worth quite a bit over the last 3 to 5 years. But if you're a renter, you've experienced higher costs for pretty much everything, more expensive homes that become more inaccessible for you, and even potentially less job security, as the net worth of renters is significantly lower now than a homeowner, and that gap between the two is growing every single month. It's up for debate as to whether or not it's a feel-good story, as Delaware has officially in the past couple years passed the 1 million population threshold, all while locals in Delaware, the homegrowns, the 302ers, some would argue that Delaware is not the same, and certain towns don't have the same feel, all while vacationers, tourists, and those that find Delaware to be such an amazing place to be are the first people to throw up cash from their New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut home to buy up a property in our beautiful area, and they seem usually to be the most grateful for it. So will 2024 be a year where out-of-staters continue to flood in, and is that a good or a bad thing for our housing market? How should we truly feel about it? Love it or hate it, it has left Delaware in uncharted territories, and that's why I'm going to take time in this video to explain exactly what's led us to where we're at in 2024 in our housing market, and I will also be making predictions. That's right, I'm going to predict where we're going to be at in 2025 so that you can best prepare with all the best information at your fingertips. Yesterday, I received the monthly summary that broke down where we ended February for 2024, and I have that info in front of us. And the beautiful part about that is I was able to see in black and white exactly what everybody is feeling. See, many of you listening to this have felt already that home prices have gone up significantly, and to put a number on it, they've gone up 41% on median just in the last 3 years. And if you're asking if that's normal, no, it's not. What's also not normal is the amount of sales that are actually happening in Delaware, and I want to put a number to it. It's actually under 1,000. Now, that number is significant because every single month since 2020, we have had more than 1,000 sales in every single month. There's only been 1 month before that where we didn't have 1,000. And I want you to guess between January 2020 and today which month that might have been. Got your guess in? All right. It was April of 2020. That was the last time we had under 1,000 home sales in 1 month. Under 1,000 was 947 homes. Now that number is significant because in December, we only had 870 homes sell. December 2023, the year we just left. In January, we only had 912 homes sold. And in February, we had our 3rd straight month under 1,000 sales. So if you're feeling like there's not a lot of homes on the market to look at, that price points are obnoxious because there's a lot of competition for what little homes are out there, what small amount of inventory is there, you're correct. And that is all because we do not have enough inventory to supply an already dwindling home buyer demand. Now, looking deeper into this report, it's all very clear as to why we're in the scenario that we're in right now. Now, at the beginning of the year, Delaware's average home price, or median, I should say, was $321,000. Now, that's an important number because the prediction for our market was that we were actually going to see a slight decrease, if not just a marginal increase in pricing, moving from then until where we're sitting right now. Them being the Annies and the Freddies and the Zillows and the Redfins, all conglomeratively saying that there wasn't going to be much of a shift in our market, but we sit in this market right now with a median price point now in the 340s, meaning there's been over a $20,000 increase in the median price point in Delaware since last year. Now, how could they have gotten this wrong, and how could price points continue to go up in a time where it feels that nobody can afford a home? There's higher interest rates, there's low job growth, and ultimately way more people today in 2024 that can't afford basic housing than ever before in Delaware. But even when the local demand is saying that home prices are too high, there is relocation that is happening and immigration that is happening that is leading to Delaware's market continuing to be stimulated, whether we like these home prices, whether we like these interest rates or not. So does that mean that home prices in 2024 continue to rise? We're going to answer that question here in a moment. Now, if we take a broad view at Delaware, we're going to see that year over year, we did see a decrease in a couple things. One, we saw a decrease in interest from buyers on homes, meaning we saw a higher days on market. This time last year, the average days on market was sitting in or around roughly 20 days. As we sit today, that number is now up to 35 days. As someone wanting home prices to go lower or for just the market to correct, you want to see that number go up because that means homes are sitting longer, sellers get less patient, and they accept more favorable offers. The other number is homes that actually sold. We just said that the last 3 months specifically, February, January, and December, were the slowest 3 months in Delaware real estate market history, at least since 2001 when these numbers were tracked. And now we have the slowest year that we've had on record since that same time frame, with 2023 having way less sales than prior years, and the prior years were already slow as it sits. Now, you may be asking, Zach, 2024 start off slower than 2023. Does that mean that 2024 may be even slower than this? And I'm going to go ahead and say yes. 2022 was a banner year for what a golden window looks like. That was the end of the last opportunity for home prices that were, what some people would say, a normal range. And those people also were securing 5% and 4% interest rates, which is now just simply not possible. 2023 was a stark realization that that market's not coming back. And 2024, in my opinion, is the year we go out kicking and screaming with the same argument. I don't believe we're going to see interest rates drop significantly enough that we'll see a huge amount of demand, but I also don't see that the interest rates go high enough that we see a decrease in that demand that could raise prices significantly. Now, a concern on any Delawarean's mind with all of this happening, and you can see in our comment sections as well as articles that are getting released, talking about is Delaware getting too full. Now, 2024 into 2025, I'm going to make a prediction around that, but I'm going to stick around that for later. Is Delaware too full right now? The argument is valid in the terms of there are towns, there are areas, there are restaurants and things that have changed over the past 2, 3, even last decade. And that's just a natural thing that is beginning to happen as Delaware is seeing more and more interest both from out-of-staters and in. With this increase in population and transit through these areas, we're seeing though more restaurants, we're seeing more entertainment, we're seeing more things for families and solo people alike. So I understand that there's the thought process of it's not going to be what it always was, but in the same exact token, in the same exact light, where does the growth happen then? Where do we see new things to do? Where do we see better development? Where do we see our cities cleaned up in the areas we want them cleaned up? Where do we see our schools improved in the ways we want them improved? All of these things require money. And with Delaware being one of the most favorable tax states in the entire state, pound for pound, when you look at being an LLC tax haven, as well as a personal and lodging tax just absolute juggernaut, where else does the state receive the funding for this? I say it's via homeownership, it's via the transfer tax we have, and it's via turning tourists into residents, which lowers the amount of traffic that inevitably goes down Route 1, gets rid of more and more of the PA and Jersey license plates, I should say. And lastly, let's get an Amtrak from Wilmington down south so that people can park up there and Amtrak down. That would solve a lot of traffic, but that's not about this video. We'll do another one on that. Short answer, statistically, Delaware is not too full by populace, or I should say by the amount of dirt we have. We are not an overpopulated state, and if you have not been to Sussex County outside of the beaches, I suggest doing a drive through Lincoln, through Bridgeville, through all these areas that all the way down to Dagsboro and across to Bridgeville. You're going to see a lot of open spaces that could absolutely house a dream home, a dream community, or just spots for people to take up when our state continues to grow. I'm excited by the growth, and we are not overpopulated. Any stat would say it's not, but I get it. It's just not what it was, but that's a good thing. But over the next 12 months, will any of that change? That's where I want to predict right now my 3 main predictions for what's going to happen through 2024 into 2025. One of the main things that Delawareans are wishing for is the first question is, will the housing market crash? My first prediction around that is just going to go into the statistics. The stats say with any crash of a product or service, we have to have a stark decrease in demand, want for that product, and we have to see a stark increase in the supply, the amount of that product that's available. And as of right now, Delaware sits in the exact opposite of that formula, with a lot of demand coming from out-of-staters, whether we like it or not, coming into the state, as well as in-staters upgrading. And then we see a low, historically low amount of supply of homes right now. And so in order for that to switch dramatically and cause a crash, there would have to be many factors involved, and quite honestly, nothing that's within the next 12-month scope that could possibly do that, at least from what we're seeing. Number 2, interest rates. Will my mortgage payment be lower if I wait until next year, 2025? Answer to that, probably. Now, there's no magic crystal ball that's going to say what interest rates are going to do. And in fact, if you follow us on TikTok, Instagram, you'll know that I've been talking about interest rates not moving significantly for a while. I don't think they're dropping into the 5s. I don't think we're going to get some magical 4% rate anytime in the next 3 years. But what I do think is we will see a decrease. I think the low 6s, high 5s is where we live and where we see a healthier housing market and more supply begin to gradually come onto the market. Because the last thing we need to do is be aggressive, because we saw what happened when rates went from 2% to 7% over a 4-month period. We got ourselves in some handcuffs. So we can't be dramatic this time, and that's where I think we move slowly going lower. And what will housing prices do in Delaware through 2024 into 2025? I predict I can absolutely see a world where we see another increase, just like we saw from 23 to 24. I'm not seeing a world where we dip below 330, 340 again. Real estate always travels up, and without any third-party variables that could topple our housing market locally, I'm seeing a market where we see 350, even 365 be a median home price in Delaware this time next year. And before you go punching the messenger, I'm looking at the stats and the numbers. And there's a lot of people who really believed the housing market was going to crash in 2017, 2018, 2019. 2020. I can go through all the years. I'm going to keep going because it gets to this year. And the same thing predictably is going to continue to happen, is people will wait and wait and wait for the deal that isn't coming. So Delaware is growing. And that's just something as Delawareans we have to accept. With that, we're going to get more entertainment, more things to do, more nightlife, more things for our family, better schools, better roads, better opportunities. But with that also comes more people. And that means higher home prices too. So if you're a homeowner, I would suggest holding on to it. And if you're not, I would suggest getting the steps in line to make it happen, because the Delaware housing market is hot, and there's no numbers in here that says they're going to slow down. So that's our prediction for what's going to happen in 2025 and where we're sitting at here in 2024. And if you'd like to know more specifically about relocating to Delaware, like this video, hit the bell. I don't know where the subscribe button is, but let us know how we can bring more value to you in the comment section, or how your relocation to Delaware is going, because we'd love to be able to serve you. Have a great one. Talk soon.